Hello, this is Ahmed Mahmoud from DataMindAI. This session is part of AI Ready, Business Ready, Decision Ready series. This is part 3 of AI Ready demo. We have looked before on part 1 of this series, the introductory, meaning how to use Conda, how to load the code from GitHub, and also in part 2 we've done like the quality side of it, and we looked at great expectation, as it were. So what what you're looking for, just to recap things, what we're looking for is like I have divided the AI Ready into 4 pillars, I call it, or 4 sections. One is the trust, which is data quality and reliability, and the second one is the control, which is governance and security, which we are going to deal with this today. And the third is like context, which is semantic and metadata, which I'm going to cover tomorrow. And the last one is going to be feedback, or this closed loop learning. So today is going to be control, governance, and security. So just to have like an overview of what you are going to cover. So when you say like this security or governance and security pillar, or this area in AI readiness, it is very important to understand what we are aiming for. This is a very simplistic way of looking at it, but what it is like we need to have a control on our data, meaning who can access it, under which rules, and is there any proof that people have accessed it? Like, this is, in a nutshell, it might be the auditing, the policies, and also the RBACs, or the access control mechanism for our system. So in order to deal with that one, we need to have like a structured way of looking at it, because it's a bit complex in a sense as well. So the control, when you say this control within the AI context, is like we don't want people, when you create agentic AI, for example, people who should have access to those data. So there should be like some kind of control to that one as well. And also we don't want to give people access to our system via like our AI. So people who shouldn't have access to our system should not be like allowed or to look at our data using these AI systems as well. So that is a key part here. Even though we are talking about AI, but we are talking in terms of governance, and people who need to have access must have access. And also, if there is an issue, people also need to know to whom to contact, who is like responsible, accountable for the access or to the data as such. So in a nutshell, the way we need to look at it is like in 3 areas. One is what we call like the data zone. The data zone or the trusted boundary, as it were. The data zone is the one when we're talking about our modern architecture, we were talking about the ingestion of our data, and we said we need to put it in the raw data. Raw data is immutable, and then once we clean it up, we put it into a curated silver layer, and then those who are like the data which fails validation, for example, we put them into silver. And also we can curate more, and we can have like transform the data and put it in a gold layer. So this is like our data is sitting in storage, some sort of a storage, could be like AWS Gen 2 or S3, or a database, SQL in Azure, Snowflake, for example, database, or it could be in Databricks SQL, as it were. So our data could be in all these areas, meaning in Databricks and Unity Catalog, sitting there, and in AWS Gen 2 or Microsoft Fabric, like in the lake house or the warehouse, and so on and so forth. So we can put our data, this structured data, this medallion one, in this one, and this one will help us decide who should look at our data. So the governance side is when we say when we try to give access to people. Yeah. So for example, we say raw data should not be consumable. We don't consume raw data, and therefore they wouldn't like people. They shouldn't go and access those ones. So it should be like controlled in that sense. So the consumable though, like the curated data and the gold data, people can consume those data, of course, for different reasons. So those ones you need to have like some kind of governance. So we need to say who is going to access the data and how they're going to access it, as it were. So the data zone is a trust one, the one we looked last time. The data quality, we need to validate the data. We need we have used like great expectation on that sense, and then we have the security controls. The security control is like when we try to give access from outside our system. So we would have like a firewall, and our system, our storage could be in a VNet, and then we could have like to access from one subnet, for example. And the second one, we might have like a private endpoint, and then we might have like security groups where to control the movement of our data. So this is like a security. When we say security, is like how we are going to access our data from outside. So what mechanism, what tools we use to do that kind of exercise. So this is the security control, and then you have also you are going to create like access, like using Active Directory, or these days is called Intra ID, and we might have like managed identity. We might have the secrets could be stored in a key vault. And they might have rules with those for those key vaults. So these are again a security element which we can implement. We call them this. We call it the identity boundaries using this Intra ID, and also we need to have like a monitoring system. Like we can do like log analytics, for example, and then we put whatever activities which is happening or events which is happening into this log analytics, and then we have a monitoring mechanism where we can see what is happening there. Also, we can do like anomaly detection and audit log dashboard and so on and so forth. So that's again observability, as it were. So we can put that one in this security model. Now the other side is this is the governance control plane. The governance is who owns the data, like ownership registry. So we have a data set, for example, silver created because this is a consumable. So people need to know who owns that one, so that if they have if they need updating or whatever they need to do, so they need to go to that to the owner of the data. And we also need on this registry sensitivity, how sensitive is the data, the PII data within it, or who are allowed roles to access the data. So, for example, departments, HR, finance, student admissions, or any departments within the organization, which we are working on. So this is like this is the governance we're talking about. The ownership registry is one part of it. And then we have like the user context, which is the user, the role, the allowed departments as well, yeah, in this context, like, yeah. So this is the user context as well. It's part of, which is linked, as you said before, with our Active Directory. Yeah, so in the Active Directory, we'll have like who the users are. And here we are giving them the access to that, if they belong to this department, so they can have access to the data. And this is, in a way, when we give access, we call them this. We give them based on their role-based access control. So if you have from HR, they'd have like, select or to update the data, something like that. So we have like this role-based access control, and also this one will decide who can access the data based on their role, and if they don't belong to a certain role, they are not, of course, will be denied access. And the other one is like, there is also role-level security. For example, if you have a data in Dataset with multiple of rows, and then you have a column which decide who is like HR, finance, or the department which is like student admission. We have a department like that. So within one table. So what you can say is like in a role-level security or role. What you do is like those departments, say for example, who are HR will have they can only see HR data, so you can filter the table where the department is HR. So you give access to just that group of data or rows. Yeah. So this is called row level security. So based on the department, and if the person belongs to that department, they will have access to those rows. Yeah. And also, you also have like audit. We need to log who have who are allowed, denied. The decision has been made should also be registered and logged. Yeah. So just to recap quickly here, the key principle on the data zone is consumers never touch row, for example. This is a key part, and the control begins at curated boundary. Yeah. So this is all the consumers or the control starts with from the curated, and then what you will have is like if users role, dataset, action, scope all are audited as well, and on the security side, what we say is like the purpose is to prevent and also detect and respond for yeah. So that's the aim of the security, to prevent, detect, and respond. And the governance is like you have rules, plus you enforce them, and then you would have a proof of those rules. Yeah. So that's what we were talking about. So that's the nutshell. So what we'll do is that we'll try to have like a system which captures these three areas, and that is what we are going to try in this the code which I put in GitHub. So that's it might be like a bit complicated, but just to take it from here, you have the data zone. You have, for example, you have this is where our data sits, and then we need to have like, for example, we might have a notebook where we say we want to access data from using through this notebook, and then the governance side would be like who is allowed to access those data. And once they are deciding who have access to it, and then they can go into the system and access the system. So that's in a nutshell what is going to happen, and that's what we are trying to create here. Just quickly, what we are going to do is like we have a notebook here with a Jupyter notebook, and then there is like a governance policy over there. So we are going to access those governance policy, which have also the role-based access control as well, which we are going to look. And then this is we'll decide who have access to what, and to actually go to the system, you need to have a control IO, which I provided like utility there. Just emulate the read and write, which can reinforce who will have access here, and then they'll go to the file system, which is the storage, in our case, the curated data, and then those, and also we register the logs there within the storage mechanism. So we have this. This is like in short what we are going to do. So what I have done here is like we have the list of sorry, we have the list of the code here. You can download it from there as part of the Git clone. It is cloned here. So what is in a nutshell here? The first part is going to tell us the aim of this word. So we'll assign dataset ownership. Yeah, who should own the ownership? We'll create like an ownership dataset to say who have access to which table, and then whether there is that table is sensitive or not, or sensitivity, and who's allowed group. Yeah, this is one part which we are going to look, and then we will have like a policy check which says who can see what. This is a policy check, and then we have the audit logs for data access, which we record the access into our audit log. And then we are going to apply also a simple rollable filter based on the department. So that's what we need to do. So the code side, yeah, there is, of course, the control side is, in a nutshell, we will do like who can access what, and then which rule, which proof. The proof is like the audit, and the which rules and who can access the data. So that's what we are going to do. So first is first, because Python need to go from place to place, and also we would have some issues bringing it. So what we are doing here is like we are creating like a notebook bootstrap to control the imports, especially what we will say is like which one is the project root, and we need to make sure that it exists before you go there. So that is the first part, and in here, as you can see, we are importing sys, the pathlib, which we have gone through that one before, but we are going to look here just in a very specific way. So we are importing, as you see, the sys here. The sys one is a very important one. So it provides access to Python runtime configuration. So that's what it is. So when you try when we want to give Python access to runtime, that's what we use. Yeah, the sys. For example, in here we are using it to say Python to go to this directory, path the directory, and insert the project root. Yeah, that's what you are doing here. If it is not there, just put it there. So that's what it is. The system root helps you to do this, and also the system root package helps you if you have an environment variable to go access to the environment variable to use it within your code. So that is very important package. It is used there, so we are going to use it also here, as you said before. And then we have the pathlib, which we brought from the library. We brought path. For example, if you are in a root directory, if you want to go up one root, for example, and then you said ... so you would tell you which way to go there. Yeah. So this is like this one, for example, I could tell Python to look into the project root first when importing modules. This ensures that deterministic imports, reproducibility, and controlled resolution. Now, what does it mean in governance terms? So this it enforces an explicit governance boundary. Yeah. So if you have policy logic levels in version control source, don't forget here, when we do like codes, we need to put them in a structured way so that it helps us to find them, and also they need to be version controlled. So we might have different, the same code, but we might change a certain aspect of it. So we need to have like a version control. So everything, the version control module is in one place. It is in source, the policy logic. That is, it lives in this here, and therefore to give access to the specific one. That's why we are going to go to this route. This will help us to Python to find it into this specific one. So notebook consumes policy, they do not define it. So the control begins by knowing where authority lives in code. Yeah. So that's the linkage to the governance. Now, once you, this is like because I put this one because when I was trying to run the logic, it was failing because we were not providing this root project root, as it were. Yeah. So that's just to resolve that area. We put it there on the first place. You can put it when you write your code. It could be like in your first cell. That's why I put it just in the first part of the code. Yeah. So you run it first, and then you wouldn't have like a problem when you run the second bit. This is a starting point of this system. So what we need here is like we need to import the pandas. Of course, pandas, we looked at it before. So the new one here is in the source data, which is if you go to the source here, we have two Python code. One is called policy, and the second one is utility. So in the policy, we are bringing, there's two functions there within the policy. If you go to the policy here, we have a function in the user context, and also we have another policy which is apply row level policy is called. So these are like what we are doing on there. So yeah. So we are importing these two, user context and apply row level policy, and then from the utility side we are also importing read tables and write tables. Yeah. So now if you the pandas, we are not going to go to this one, but for these two, the source policy is, it will tell who the user is, like this is the one, and the apply row level is what data they are allowed to see. So the policies are defined once, it is version controlled, and the users consistently. So that's the whole idea of the policy. So we put a policy which help us who the users are, who the user is, or users are, and what data they are allowed to see. The utility, on the other hand, imports controlled I/O utilities that standardize how data is read and how data is written, and the format, whether it's CSV or Parquet file and so on and so forth. Yeah. So from the governance meaning here, notebook do not decide access. Of course, notebook requests access from policy. So in the notebook there will be a request, and all enforcement logic lives in governance module, and the enabling auditing review on the compliance. This enables auditing review on the compliance. Now, of course, we need also, as I said, in order to work on the data, we need to go to the data and curated one, the silver one, because we need to load the data in order to work on this governance side. So that's the function of the loading. So before we load them, though, we are creating these variables. Yeah, the path. Yeah, so the curated one is going to be the base path, and then the data in the curated, and the audit path is going to be, again, in the curated. We are going to create this audit logic or logs, the CSV file. But before that, though, we need to load this two CSV file which they live in the curated one. As we were saying before, this is the data, and then this is the curated one, and then the data is here.